In this video, we are going to talk about the top 10 amazing things you didn't know about your brain. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for future updates. Love the whole brain enough to name our company after it. Everything about our brain training app is based on neuroscience, a field that is full of both new discoveries and unsolved mysteries. But did you know that the brain has some incredible abilities? We wanted to share some of our favorite brain facts with you. Add one of these interesting brain facts to a conversation, incorporate it into your classroom's curriculum, or simply read on to learn more. Number 10. Your brain is an oxygen hound. The brain consumes a significant amount of oxygen, accounting for 20% of total body oxygen consumption, or 3 times that of your muscles. The brain requires oxygen to both function and heal. In addition to deep breathing, you can increase the amount of oxygen delivered to your brain by changing your diet. Brain cells begin to die after 5 minutes without oxygen. The longer the deprivation lasts, the worse the brain damage becomes. This is why sleep apnea, which deprives our brains of the oxygen they require, can have such a negative impact on our mental capacity during the day. Take Total Brain's assessment, which screens for sleep apnea if you're tired during the day and having trouble focusing. Deep breathing exercises should be done throughout the day to get more oxygen to your brain, which will reduce stress and increase energy. For quick, 5-minute oxygen boosts, try Total Brain's library of breathing exercises. Number 9. When it comes to sleep, your brain is like an orchestra. It's a frequent misperception that sleeping just means turning off our brains. The brain never truly shuts down while sleeping. Different sections and functions of the brain work at different times when you're dreaming. According to scientists, the brain uses this period to remove poisons from the area. It also instructs your body to generate hormones that prevent you from enacting your fantasies. Your respiration, heart rate, and body temperature are all slowed by the brain. The electrical activity of the brain varies depending on the stage of sleep you're in, and you'll forget roughly 90% of what you dreamed 10 minutes after waking up. However, compared to a bad night's sleep, a good night's sleep can help you store more knowledge gathered during the day. The brain's dreaming process, including the purpose of dreaming, is still a mystery, but recent study reveals it's a mix of imagination, psychology, and neurology. Number 8. The brain peaks in your 20s. Teenagers' prefrontal brain, which doesn't fully develop until they're 25, can be blamed for part of their poor decision-making. It's the region of the brain that understands long-term repercussions as a foundation for effective judgment and decision-making. The kicker is that your brain begins to degrade cognitively in your late 20s, just as you achieve actual adulthood, resulting in a protracted, downward trend in capacities like memory. Scientists are still studying how your brain changes as you get older, but we've learned a lot so far. It is the only organ in the body that changes over such a lengthy period of time, and it continues to develop into the late 40s. Our spinal cords finish growing at the age of 4, while the brain's gray matter peaks right before puberty. It is then reduced down during adolescence, and growth then moves to the frontal lobe, where the prefrontal cortex lives. According to an MIT study, your ability to acquire a language starts to deteriorate at the age of 18. Some activities of the brain grow more difficult to do after the age of 30, for example, matching faces to names gets more difficult. It is typical for the brain to diminish with age, and in their 70s, they can only recognize roughly 75% of people. We understand neuroscience, which is why we developed a brain training game to help people maintain their recognition skills. Play Total Brain's faces and names to improve your memory and build your links between the two. Number 7. MRIs can see you falling in love. The most powerful force in the universe, passionate love, is playing out in your brain, and technology can detect it. Participants in love experienced increased activity in areas of the brain involved with reward, motivation, emotion, and social functioning, according to imaging studies. The researchers compared the scans of in-love brains to those of people who had just finished a relationship or were not in one at all. Not only did they discover increased activity in the aforementioned brain regions, but they also discovered that the longer someone had been in love, the higher the level of brain activity. Number 6. Brains are like fingerprints. To the untrained eye, every brain appears to be the same, however no two people's brain structure is the same. Because of the experiences that shaped your brain development, what you've learned, and genetics, your brain is the only one like it in the world. And the more you go through life, the more your wiring changes. It wasn't until around 30 years ago that scientists understood how dissimilar our brains are. Because each brain is different, mental health care must be personalized to the individual. Take Total Brain's free 15-minute assessment to learn about your brain's strengths and weaknesses, as well as receive a personalized brain training program. Number 5. Most of your brain weight comes from one area. The normal human brain weighs 3 pounds, but the cerebrum, the biggest region of the brain, contains 85% of that weight. The cerebrum is the largest portion for a reason. The brain's top priority is safety, and much of this occurs in the cerebrum. It's the section in charge of survival-related processes like judgment, problem-solving, temperature regulation, movement coordination, and five-sense functions, among others. The most developed region of the brain is also the heaviest. Number 4. Male brain versus female brains different, but equal. Imaging studies have revealed a few distinctions in the male and female brain size and processing properties. Men's brains are around 10% larger than women's, but size doesn't matter in this case, IQ is the same. Men and women's brains handle pain differently. According to other studies, women have a higher sensitivity to pain, for example. Women have more gray matter in their brains than men, but they use it less, while also using more white matter than men. In terms of social decision-making and stress management, the male brain appears to vary from the female brain. However, there is much more to learn about what causes these variances. Number 3. Our brains are chatty. Why is it so tough to meditate? Because our brains have a hard time shutting up. The average person has 70,000 thoughts every day. According to research, our brains are wired for 10-minute attention span intervals, which throws the standard 2-hour lecture module into disarray. The reason for this is that our brains require regular stimulus, which is why mastering the art of meditation takes time. Meditation, which involves quieting our minds, has been found to be extremely good to our mental and physical health. Start small and work your way up to longer, more frequent meditations using Total Brain's meditation collection, which includes brain breaks ranging from 5 to 15 minutes. Number 2. You can lose half a brain and be okay. So, while some of us may have different definitions of okay, for the most part, we can get by with half a brain. A hemispherectomy is a surgical procedure that involves removing half of the brain, and no, it's not common. This treatment is typically used to treat those who have severe seizure disorders. It depends on the individual how losing half of your brain would affect them. You'd probably keep your personality but lose some cognitive function. The cognitive capacities of 6 individuals who had hemispherectomies as youngsters were fine, according to a new study, and they shared all of the same neural networks as entire brains. This amazing information has nothing to do with the popular belief that only 10% of our brains are used. We use our entire brains, but the organ has more flexibility than, example, our lungs, since no single section is dominating and the brain is capable of developing new pathways. Number 1. Our brain equals 9,766 iPhone 7s. While current computers can perform jobs that the human brain cannot, our minds still have the upper hand in several areas. The equivalent of 2.5 million gigabytes of material can be stored in the human memory. To put that in context, an iPhone 7 has only 256. Taxi drivers in London are known for knowing every backroad and alternate route, and researchers discovered that the driver's hippocampuses, the brain's key memory player, were larger. According to the study, the larger a person's hippocampus becomes, the more information they must memorize, implying that we may be able to increase brain storage capacity. As a result, keep reading. While we're still learning about the brain's information storage qualities, for example, why are some memories more accurate and vivid than others, we've learned enough to design tried and true memory improvement techniques. Memory training exercises that are as simple as playing a game on your phone are now available. What do you think about our video? Let us know in the comment box below. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Thank you.